racing here at Easter since 1938. Richard Crailes and Greg Russ have not been to all of those, but they've been to a lot of them. Good afternoon, fellas.
Brett, thank you very much. And you cross at the absolute perfect time, because on the wonderful array of things we have on the schedule today, Trans Am is underway. So Aaron Seaton leads them up the mountain for the first time. Owen Kelly is hustling in the 73, battling with the series leader in Nathan Hearn. Awesome V8 Thunder rocks the mountain. And Richard Crailes, we love it, don't we?
This, Rusty, is an awesome sight to start your Saturday morning on the mountain. Hearn barrelling up into turn 2. There's a big lock up behind. It's Benny Grice running the 0-3 on his car this weekend. A bit of a doff of the Akubra cap to his old man and his NASCAR career. But everyone cleanly through Griffin's Bend, up the hill to the cutting for the first time. 8 laps the distance in this race. And it's Aaron Seaton and Owen Kelly at the front of the field with Nathan Hearn there. And Rusty, there's a subplot through all of this, because Hearn and Seaton in particular are right in the thick of the action in the battle for the National Trans Am Championship. 2 rounds down, Hearn leads the way, 376 points, Seaton 374. It's super competitive at the front.
Riding there just a moment ago with Owen Kelly in the Fujitsu air conditioning Mustang, currently in position 3 across the top of the mountain. They go 200 kilometres an hour. They shift back down. When they get to the dipper here in a moment, it's back to first gear, 80 kilometres an hour, H-pattern gearbox. They all run a crate V8 engine. Lots of great things in place in this class to keep the costs down. And wonderful to see Benny Grice having such a good weekend. He literally got in that car and got his hands on it 3 days before the Phillip Island round. Big learning curve there for him. Car is owned by one of the greats of Australian motor racing in Greg Creek. Les Small is the crew chief there, so some good people. But the learning he's had between Phillip Island and here has paid dividends. Great job to be in fourth right now.
Yeah, he's a racer's race at Gricey as well. If he doesn't qualify well, you can bet your house on the fact that by the end of the weekend, he'll have the race pace to get to the front. This is such a compelling battle, and Aaron Seaton on cold tyres. Barrett's touched on it before the start. It's only 15 degrees at the moment. The track temperature in the mid-20s, but it's coming up, but it's still quite cool ambient. So the cars are producing lots of horsepower. The tyres will take a little bit longer to get up to temperature, and these things move around. They don't have a lot of mechanical grip. They don't have a lot of aero grip. They don't have a lot of tyre grip. So they slide around and move around a lot. Cole Girton gets down the inside at turn 1, but couldn't get that position done, and he and Nash Morris will exchange positions again on the run-up Mountain Straight. That's 7th and 8th position.
There is 2 cool youngsters enjoying their time in Trans Am. Relatively new for young Nash Morris, who was in an XL just last weekend. Shifts back into this car. He was in it at Phillip Island. I mean, it's just tremendous for his growth in the game. And Girton, I think, on balance, if you look at the fact that I think he's been a class winner here in the Bathurst 12-hour, limited experience in Formula Ford in Victoria, he is a relative newcomer. He's done a super job in that car, that Morris Finance entry this year.
Yeah, really impressive young guy. He's got an open wheel background as well in Formula Ford racing. He's part of that Queensland set tied in around McElrea Racing as well. So he's done a lot of work with those guys up there in Queensland. So really cool young bloke. But Nash Morris, how quickly is he getting up to speed? And it's the Morris approach, isn't it? If it's got 4 wheels, drive it. Drive it hard and drive it really fast and see how you can keep improving. And we jump on board with the motorsport sales entries. He runs down the hill, 80 k's an hour at the dipper, hard on the throttle at the mid-corner and then down through the S's. Seaton leads the way, Hearn next. Owen Kelly running in 3rd position in a program that started off as, we'll do the opening round at Simmons Plains. We're 3 rounds into the championship now. He's very competitive. He's at the front of the field. Marcus Ambrose is in the back of the paddock there, working away on the car. It's a great environment, and he's currently running in 3rd position at the moment.
A couple of other stories too, so well done to Eden Thornborough, who is currently in position number 6. You can see him just to the right of your screen here, chasing Tim Brook, who had some troubles in qualifying yesterday. In the end, because they had such limited running, they went with the combined times from practice 1 and 2 to establish the grid for this first race of the weekend. So Grice has got some new supporters this weekend, which is tremendous. Brook, good work to repair that car overnight, and he's enjoying his time in Trans Ams as well. Big difference racing this car around the mountain compared to the Toyota 86.
Oh, not wrong. Completely. They've got 4 wheels and an engine, and that's about the only similarity. Oh, and a stick shift.
Yep.
Both manual, so that's a positive thing. He's actually got a very good run out of Hell Corner and up past the Mount Panorama Estate Winery. Ben Grice having to cover his line slightly across the top of the hill and the run into Griffin's Bend. Your point on qualifying is a really interesting one, Rusty, because there were some people who got themselves out of jail because that session did not count. One of them was Nathan Hearn. His car blew an engine in practice too. They weren't ready for qualifying, so he did not go out. But the fact the session didn't stand meant that he ended up second based on his time set in practice 1 early yesterday. That's a massive get out of jail free card, because otherwise he would have started this race in 23rd position. Tim Brook, you touched on, in exactly the same boat. He brought out the red flag in qualifying, didn't go anywhere, but then because the session didn't count, his practice time meant that he started 4th. A couple of boys going, oh, thank goodness for that. We actually got away with one on a pretty tough Friday.
And in Hearn's case, super important for the championship. This is only a small championship in round terms, so that's valuable for him with that slender lead that he has over Aaron Seaton at the moment. Hats off to look at this car moving around. They are physical. Across the top of the mountain they run a who's your bag tyre. The cars move around. You could see that before when we were riding with Nash Morris. It's busy.
A lot of tyre movement, very high sidewall, not a low profile tyre by any extent, so there's a lot of movement in the tyre and the car slides around a lot on the beat of the rubber, let alone the fact they don't have an enormous amount of grip.
Great bang for buck though.
Oh, massively. The fact they've got 100 and...
Kyle Gurton.
Oh, so that's the run up the hill, isn't it, out of turn 2. Just backed it down the Glen Seaton escape road there by the looks of it on the run to the cutting.
I still have bad memories of that, don't you?
95.
Yeah.
Sorry, Glenn, for bringing it up.
Well, let's flip the positive here on that discussion while we relive that memory, because Glenn is here, the 93 and 97 Australian Touring Car champion, works hands-on with Aaron's car, with the Craig Harris team, and that car, typically, as it has done here at Bathurst, rolls out of the transporter, and it's been in great form from the moment it hit the track.
To 10.5 on lap 3 for Aaron Seaton. He's flying out in front. Race 1 of the Trans Ams. We're underway on the Easter long weekend here at Mount Panorama. There's more right after this. At turn 2, the Kubota car is in the fence.
And that's Matty McKeldin, who had been having a good run in position number 8, one of 4 cars being run out of that group this weekend by McAllister Motorsport.
Oh, he's trying to drag it out. You can see the car moving. He's kept it running. Those tyres, famous for catching cars, and they just submarine underneath the belted rubber there that protects the tyre barriers, and it jams the car in hard, and no amount of reverse gear is going to get that out. Such a shame for the Queensland real estate agent by trade now, but a very experienced race car driver who was running 8th on the back of that battle between Nash Morris and Tim Brook and Eden Thornborough there at the pointy end of the top 10.
And a great driver. Advanced driving instructor too, really, hasn't he? He's worked with lots of manufacturers, and Mercedes in particular. So
he did earn himself the nickname Diva because he is a multiple class winner in the Bathurst 12 hour. And the people that he worked with seem to think it might have gone to his head just a smidgen when he rolled in on Tuesday morning after the race with the trophy.
Always good when people keep you grounded in this game, isn't it?
So that will bring the race under control of the Hyundai and Shannon's safety car. This is what happened. Battling wheel to wheel on the run up to turn 2. Looking up the inside of Nash Morris. Oh, it didn't really look like he was going to get the car stopped. It was a very late braking move. The car was sliding around under brakes and ended up buried in the tyre bundle. And the I-30N safety car will pick up Aaron Seaton. He's got Nathan Hearn attached to his rear bumper bar. He's going to make the point just before the break that these two were pushing on at the front. 2-minute 10.5 for Aaron Seaton. Now, these cars have never raced here as a category on their own, Greg, so that's a lap record at Mount Panorama. And you touched on the fact that these cars have got bang for your buck. For 150 odd grand to get into one of these cars, to do 2 10s at Mount Panorama is just extraordinary good value.
And they have, I mean, the cars have made appearances in other classes, with 10 top-based classes before, but the numbers we were seeing from Nathan Hearn, we were talking, I think, 213s. I mean, Aaron Seaton got down to a 211. We wondered what number we might achieve. To get to a 210, that is mighty. Back aboard with Morris. Oh, okay.
Wow.
So that's good presence of mind from young Nash Morris. Clearly some trouble for Matty McKeldin as he went up the inside there at decent pace. A great presence of mind, I think, for Nash Morris to be aware of that.
Yeah, good heads-up driving. Because it could have very easily ended up in a two-car accident up there at Griffin's Bend. Named after the former mayor of Bathurst, who was influential in getting this racetrack off the ground. Easter 1938, first major race meeting at this venue. Such a cool history. Everywhere you walk, you can feel it. So many stories to tell.
Nice to have you with us wherever you're watching, right around Australia and the world for that matter. Easter long weekend here at Mount Panorama. You couldn't pick any better place in motor racing terms to spend it. Very sadly, though, we are under safety car here at the moment. We hope he's okay. It looks as though he is, because Matty McKeldin in the Kubota entry has gone off at turn 2. Now, Nash Morris to the right of your screen. So I don't know whether that's a stuck throttle. So decent pace in there. And Nash had great presence of mind. So this is Nash Morris here. Now watch. I think he saw that coming. We knew that Matty was in trouble.
Matty got a very, very good run. McKeldin out of the first corner, and they drag raced up the hill. It looked on initial viewing that it was just a really deep lunge up the inside, and got up on that curb on the inside as well, a little bit at Griffin's Bend, which unsettled the car. We'll get to the bottom of exactly what happened when we hear from Matt after the race at a later point, and we'll report that back when we go back racing race 2. There's a quick turnaround between this race and race 2 later on this morning, just after midday, I think it is, Rusty. So they'll have to work hard. These cars, though, are very, very tough. They can cop a hit and bounce back without a massive amount of work. And I think the reason McKeldin's still in the car is because it's the driver's side that's stuck under the tyre bundles there. They sit on the left, as you can see, aboard the Fujitsu car with Owen Kelly. So they'll hopefully be able to drag him out of the tyres. And he was manually trying to move the car. Before we went to the break, you could see him trying to grab reverse and back the car out. That generally doesn't work because the tyres grab you pretty quickly. But hopefully they can pull him out backwards and he can either be driven out the way or flat-toed out the way so he can go back to racing, because it was shaping up to be an absolute belter at the front between Aaron Seaton and Nathan Hearn.
Sure was. So we're under safety car conditions here. Hyundai Motorsport Australia, Shannon safety car controls the field. A couple of other little stories we should point out too. The field has expanded a little since the Phillip Island hit out last time. So we have 23 cars in the field, and a couple of teams have 4 cars that they're running. So McAllister Motorsport, of which Matty McKeldin's car is one of the 4. Brand new car for Ian McAllister this weekend. Really cool. They shook it down, did some laps at Wakefield Park very recently, and I saw Kim Jane, he looked really busy the other day because there's a number of cars in that field, because the 555 is being run by a fellow you know well from historic touring car racing in Andrew Fisher. And the 777 for Scatella is a brand new car this weekend. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. Great story. Yeah, Andrew Fisher loves driving these cars, and there's not actually an enormous amount of difference in the way you drive them between this and the Falcon GTHO he drives in the Gulf Western Oils Touring Car Master Series. He said they're both undertied, they've both got too much horsepower for what they really are, and they're both outrageously good fun. So he...
Little wonder he smiles all the time.
Exactly right. So he finds that he can jump between the two of them without an enormous amount of readjustment. It works for him. And doing a really good job in 8th position, and qualified down in 12th at a 2:18 too. So he's already found not a lot of lap time as well, but track position in this race too.
Take you to pit lane. Here's Brad Hodge.
Yeah, I've got Brodie Kostecki with me down here in pit lane, good friend and mentor of Nash Morris. He's done a wonderful job here to escape a little bit of trouble. Were you nervous watching the TV?
Yeah, it's like watching my little brother out there. So Paul's up in the spotter stand, up at the ridges, coming onto the front straight. So I'm taking control down here, and yeah, he's had a good start, but he seems to be struggling with a bit of pace so far.
Yeah, we tried to find Paul. Are you sure he's not hiding the father figure nerves looking out for Nash? Is he nervous?
Oh, he's always nervous when Nash races, like any father is, but yeah, he's fine. He's got Nash in control up there, so he's fine.
I reckon he's a pretty cool customer. That's why he's known as a dude. Now, have you given Nash any tips around this track? You've been pretty successful around here yourself. What tips did you give the youngster?
Yeah, well, as everyone knows, this place bites hard when you have a crash, so it's all about experience for him. He's still very young in his racing career, so if he can finish this weekend off and do all the laps and just tick that box, that'll be great for him.
Can't wait to see you in the car later on today. Good luck, mate. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Hodgie. Now, hearing from category management from Liam Kirkpatrick via race control, the medical car has been dispatched for Matty McKeldin. You can see that he's out of the car there to the left of your screen, which is good. A little sore though, so I think that's just a precautionary thing as they endeavour to get the Kubota Mustang onto the flatbed there, and that's a good call. The question mark for me is, will we get one final flying lap? I don't know that we will.
No, it looks like they're going to call this one. This will be the final lap of the race. Yeah, massive shame for Matt, which is a real shame. And the medical checks are precautionary, and they generally will check over every driver after an incident like that, no matter how severe, because you never know what kind of impact it can have. So part of the Motorsport Australia policies are that every driver, after even the slightest impact, will go to the medical centre, get checked over and make sure they're A-OK. But you could see the rate at knots at which the Kubota car barreled up there. That was a heavy impact.
Definitely.
And the tyres as well, with all the rain that's been here in New South Wales for the last fortnight, absolutely chock full of water as well. So that's just another level of protection, but it also makes the impact a little bit heavier when he pushed that car into the tyre bundle. So you could see Matt looking at the front of the car. I think he was more concerned about the damage than his own health at that point, but they'll go and check him over, and then we'll see if we can get that car back out for race 2 a little bit later on today.
Shout out to all of our volunteers that have come from all around the country on Easter. Some of them have arguably the best seats in the house, but we really value their support in making events like this happen. And hearing from Motorsport Australia Race Control that the checkered flag will be displayed this time by, so finishing under safety car. So that will give Aaron Seaton the win and should, as a result, move him to the outright championship lead over Nathan Hearn, who finished second, and Owen Kelly 3. Great sight that, as we see the campers and more that have all gathered on this Easter long weekend and building for an event you know and love. We didn't have the 12-hour. We didn't have the 12-hour this year, but we do have some GT cars here. We probably should make mention of that as well. So the GT cars will be in action, and later today qualifying for the High-Tech Oils Bathurst 6 hour.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. A big group of fans there on driver's left entry to the chase at Camp Shakedown. Avid motor racing fans. They love their GT cars, but they love the 6 hour. So the checkered flag will fly. The safety car is in, but until they get to the control line, there's no passing. And at the control line, they'll get the checkered flag. What a win from Aaron Seaton. Converts pole to a race 1 victory in the Trico Trans Am Series. Their first ever standalone race at Mount Panorama. Didn't quite go the way we'd hoped it would, but gee, it bodes well for future entertainment over the course of the weekend. Races 2 and 3 to come your way live on the screens of 7. I think it's going to be fantastic to watch. Aaron Seaton and Nathan Hearn 1 and 2. Owen Kelly in 3rd in the Fujitsu car. Tim Brooke 4th. Thornborough will be 5th at the end of that one. And good championship points for him as well. He's 3rd in the standings coming into this weekend's race. Confirmation of that then, Tim Brooke 4th, Thornborough 5th, Nash Morris, solid drive, great evasive action in 6th. Andrew Fisher will be placed from 7th from 12th on the grid. Dylan Thomas in the 10, so too Aaron Tebb. And Benny Grice with some dramas there after starting further up. He was 10.
And he peeled into the lane as at the very, very end there. So we'll get some clarity on that. As it crossed the line, it says he was 10th, but he was 4th in the queue there before. A couple of other standouts. Well done to Mark Crutch. A bit of work that he's been doing in just coming to terms with these cars. Did about 20 laps at very recently at Wakefield Park. And Kyle Girton will try and put an answer or get an answer on what happened to his Morris Finance entry before the next race.